So Kieron, last time we caught up, it was after the first week of training. How have the boys progressed since that start of pre-season?
Yeah, we've had a really good couple of weeks so far. It's been good for me to get to know all the boys. Introduce myself to them as well and get my philosophies and ideas across, and also the staff behind the scenes. Getting them to get an understanding of how we want to run our environment, which has been a key thing over the last couple of weeks, is getting that right. But the boys have settled in really well. Training's progressively got a little bit harder, and we'll continue to do that now until the season comes upon us. But yeah, I'm really happy where we're going. I think the boys are enjoying themselves. They're training hard, but they're training with a smile, and there's a good feel, and there's a good buzz around the place at the moment.
And when we caught up after that first week, you did say it was just an introduction to getting back into training, and new boys have come in. Is the intensity been stepping up gradually week on week?
Yeah, every week. And in some weeks the days have different intensities as well. This week's probably coming up to our most intense week. The boys have worked really hard this week. And we've had a good mixture of weights and wrestle. We've had some conditioning games where the boys have been running around with the ball in hand, and we've been visiting the Dream a couple of times, and the boys have been enjoying testing themselves on the hills as well. So yeah, it's been, the intensity goes up. This week's been the toughest one. We'll probably have a little bit of a downer week next week, but then after that we ramp it up again, looking towards the start of the season.
And Phil, off the field, in comparison to last year, there's been a bit of a difference in the budget and the funding, and that, as a result of where we finished in 2018, it has changed. Can you just talk us through that?
Yeah, obviously, being relegated have a significant impact on the funding that we've received as a club, predominantly central funding. So our four main sources of income for 2019 are obviously the central funding from the governing body, memberships, commercial partnerships, but also unique, and hopefully we won't have it again, is the parachute payment that we've got. So in 2018 we probably received about £1.9 million worth of funding from the governing body. This year that's gone down to 400,000 as central funding, sort of pot from the RFL. So I think there's some misconceptions out there that the funding we got would have been around 750,000, but because of where we finished, the most amount of money went to obviously the team that finished sort of second in the £1 million game, and obviously because of where we finished, then there was a step down approach in terms of the funding. So that led us to getting what we thought initially was going to be 500,000, and then there was a vote by the championship clubs to try and equalise the funding, which led us to 400,000. So that's where we're up to in terms of central funding, and we've been lucky that an awful lot of the sponsors have stayed with us. We had some brilliant news over the weekend with Kristen Anu re-signing, and that was partly down to Jason Shaw from Vicky, who stepped forward and made a contribution to his contract, but the vast majority of the sponsors have stayed with us, which is brilliant. So in terms of central funding, that's where we're up to with the RFL.
And you mentioned that parachute payment that comes on the top of that. There's a bit of a misconception that that's a bit of a war chest for you to go out and recruit players. Is that the case, or is it being used in other areas?
Well, obviously the parachute payment is designed to try and make sure that you can maintain an infrastructure and an off-field staff and a playing squad that's suitable to get you back from Championship into Super League. So it isn't just a pot of money that's retained for spending on players. I think we've had to maintain and we've had to recruit some really good staff to give us the best possible chance to return to Super League in 2020. So it isn't just for players, and also I think people think that when you get relegated, people's contracts become null and void. That's not the case. And if you've got players that are contracted beyond that existing year, you have to look at serving those notice, and that comes at a cost. And we've had, I think, 13 players have moved on from the end of last year. 6 of those we had to serve notice on. And I think nine members of staff have moved on as well, who we've had to serve notice on as well. So about £200,000 of that parachute payment has been spent on doing the right and honourable thing in sort of moving staff onwards. So it isn't just a war chest, but it has to be spent on the infrastructure.
And given that massive drop from the 1.9 last year that we received, Are you impressed with the squad that's been put together so far?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, me personally, obviously I'm an advocate of the youth programme and bringing youth players through to the first team squad, and without having that system in place and those players within the club, I think it would have been really, really hard for us because of the point of relegation to assemble a squad moving forward. So I think out of the squad we've got 17 of the first team squad have come through the youth pathway. Out of that 17, 10 are Widnesian, which I'm particularly proud of having 10 Widnesian lads in that squad. But added to that youth, you've got people like Anthony Gelling and Kristen Inu and Liam Hood, who's been brilliant, Adam Tangata as well. Jack Owens coming back as well has been a massive boost. So I think we've got a really, really good mix of seniority and experience and youthful enthusiasm.
And obviously the supporters are vital to the club, and we've seen more new members sign up for 2019 than any other season. And you yourself, you're a supporter of the Vikings, and you have been all your life. How important is it to the club that we get as many fans on board ahead of the new season?
Like you say, first and foremost, I'm a fan of Widnes, and I've been all my life, and all my family are as well. And I think we've got a responsibility as staff, and as a club to try and excite the fans and give the fans something to want to come watch, and a team that they can be proud of, that sits at the heart of the community. For me personally, I've worked there for nearly 10 years, and as you say, I've supported the club all my life. So the last few years have been really, really difficult. So I've got a lot of empathy with the fans that have sort of stuck with us, and I understand probably why there's a bit of anger towards the club and the situation that we find ourselves in. But I think the boys will really, really respond to our fans. And I think it's our job to make sure that the fans want to come and watch us, first and foremost. And without being arrogant, I think hopefully we're going to win more games than we did last year. I think we've got a really exciting squad. There's some really really creative players in that squad as well. So I think the fans come the season, will want to come and watch us. And if we could get some more fans on board, I think that would have massively help us in terms of pushing us towards getting back to Super League.
And just back over to you, Kieron. Obviously the news of Kristen Inu and Anthony Gelling committed to the squad broke over the last week. How much of a boost has that given to you and the boys?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I was absolutely buzzing on Monday with those two on the training field, and I think the week before we had Albert, Welle turned up and Tangata turned up, which was a good boost for the squad, getting them on field. And then last week with Kristen and Anthony Gelling joining us, it was absolutely fantastic. And I hope it's a signing from the club. That's our intentions. The fantastic signings, the two strike players there, and not only should they get the staff excited and the players, but the fans should be really excited by having those two on board as well. So we've got to find a way to make sure they get the ball and use the assets they've got as well.
And you've got a good mix in the group now, as you mentioned, with them boys coming in. The foundations are set with the youngsters, and we've got some experience on the outside of that as well. Are you impressed with that quality, and are you looking at maybe bringing in some more boys?
Yeah, I think if we look internally at our squad, there is a good blend at the moment. We've got some young guys who are driving that enthusiasm and energy from the bottom, and we've got some great senior guys in there. Harrison Hanson's been around, tough as they come. We've got Kristen Inu and Anthony Gelling, two strike players. We've got Liam Hood, who's forming a great partnership with JJ in training. Then a couple of characters there and getting on like an house on fire. So we look at the blend we've got there. We've got Eb Cale, who has been a great leader within the group and been a great help to me so far, off the field as well as on the field. So I think that the mixture we're getting is really good. But it's like anything else. We've got a long season coming forward, and we're always looking to recruit, and there's always people on the phone. Especially after the weekend with the signings we've made, there's people wanting to come in and join the club from a playing side. But I think it's really important that for us all to achieve what we want to do, it's everyone's buying into it. That's the players, the staff, and the fans as well. And the more people we can get on board helping us with that way, the more it goes to helping us enhance the squad. And we've got a long season ahead of us. We've got a fantastic group of players to start with, but the season will take its toll at some point. And as long as we're all going in the right direction and we're all helping each other out, I'm sure we'll achieve our goal of getting back into Super League.